Hey, Corey.
How we doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, I had to send out a new link to everyone, which looks like people are getting just because the other one forced us to like admit people as opposed to just people popping in.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, because I'm gonna start the video in 2 minutes, so I don't want to have to be able to like admit people. I'd rather people just pop in.
That's beautiful. I got you.
So we're starting to record now, even though we're not going to start for another 2 minutes. We'll get going in like 2 minutes.
Sit down.
I love it. Nice haircut, Maddie.
Thanks. Better for you if you do that.
Yes. Here's Vinny G.
Vinny G, you going to visit Arcadia? I spoke to the coach today.
Yeah, I should be going there next week.
That's beautiful. You'll like it. It's a cool school.
Yeah, I'm hoping I like it there. I just got to see it first. Got to get my feet on the ground.
The coach seems like a really good dude.
Yeah, I enjoyed his energy on the phone. I like his energy.
Yeah, seemed like a good guy.
I wanted to make sure you were.
Vinny, you know Cole, our goalie, just committed there, right?
Yeah, he meant yeah.
You want me to send you Cole's cell phone number if you want to talk to him?
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
All right, cool.
It's for you. I think it's good if they see you.
Let's see everybody's beautiful faces, man. Don't be going black on Coach Wink.
Let's go. I don't understand. No. No.
Grad.
Thank you, Coach.
Oh, guard.
There you go. You got Will and Patrick, the beautiful young men.
All right, so I'm going to get going here, guys. People are going to pour in as we kind of move through it, but we're recording here, so anyone that misses, it's all good. First and foremost, I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. I've seen some of you guys, doing some Zooms and whatnot, but a lot of you, it's been a while, so it's good to see everybody. We're excited for the opportunity to get back out on the field here pretty soon, which is great. We didn't really know what was going to happen this summer. Right now, it's looking like we're a go right after July 4th. So, now is the time. If you haven't already, start getting in shape. I think the biggest thing you can do right now is just start getting in shape and get prepared to play summer lacrosse, which is a little different than the spring. The weather's different, right? You might be out on that field a little bit longer. You're playing 3-4 games sometimes in a day, right? High school is a little different. Usually it's no more than a 2.5-hour practice, and you play maybe 2 games a week. So summer lacrosse is very
Whoever
different.
that is, please mute.
Yep. Try to mute everyone here so you can hear us. So get in shape. Now, if you do have questions, that's totally fine. This recruiting webinar here tonight, guys, is not necessarily to talk about each and every one of our FLG players' individual recruiting processes. This is like general recruiting advice and general question and answer around what's going on as it relates to recruiting right now. So if you have a specific question about you, right? Like, hey, we were talking to one of our boys, like, hey, I'm going to a visit school next week. Like, let's talk about that visit. Let's see how it went. Let's talk about your options. That's something that myself and Coach Wink are here for you to do a one-on-one Zoom or phone call at any time. That's what we're here for. So that's more your personal recruiting journey. This is more general advice. And I'm actually going to give everyone a bunch of advice from a series of college coaches that I've spent the last few months talking to, which is really cool. I recorded the conversation. I cut up some advice that the college coaches have, and I'm going to be sharing that with everyone here tonight. So the first thing that we're going to be doing –
Can I ask everybody to mute, please? Backdraft. Thanks, Tuck. That was the Tuck house with the 7 kids.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get kids coming out of closets. All right, so so first and foremost, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you a little video that, has about 10 different college coaches from 10 different schools, Division 1, 2, and 3, giving one piece of advice to you as a lacrosse recruit. So you can, take each and every piece of advice and run with it. You might just hear one thing that relates to you, which is totally fine too. But you're also going to hear from myself and Coach Wink tonight. So you're hearing the perspective from your club organization, which is us, and you're going to hear the perspective from a college coach. So we're doing that because, you know, you can really learn from so many different types of people. And it's not just, we don't want you to just listen to us. There's other people out there you can learn from too. So without further ado here, I'm gonna get going with a short video. It's about 8 minutes long. All right. Hopefully everyone can pay attention, and I hope everyone gets something out of it. All right, here we go. Make sure everybody can see my screen right now. All right, you should see Kyle Hayes, assistant coach at Babson College, about to talk.
Is play multiple sports. I think you want to take pride in the other sports you play. Enjoy your high school process, because you don't get that experience. And you want to take go to meet the players there. So I would say don't just take the first opportunity that comes at you. Just like that wouldn't be the case for a job opportunity. You want to be able to visit as many schools as you can.
Now more than ever, you're going to have a much more captive audience. If you're a recruit sending out film this time of year, in the next coming weeks, you're going to see a lot of coaches really on the phones a lot. And, trying to get in touch with guys, trying to learn more about guys without being able to see them play. Obviously film is a huge piece of that. If we can see some film from, this past fall or winter, guys playing box, or, obviously their last, sophomore season or whatever it may be, I think, this is probably one of the best chances you'll ever have to make sure coaches watch them, because they're refreshing my email. I feel like every
I'm blowing up right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's the biggest thing is forefront and brevity. Provide us information, whether it's through yourself or a club coach or a high school coach. And, video clips, bam. GPA, put it in there. A couple other things. Not too long of an email. It's so easy to pass off the long emails. Hey, my assistant can read this one. Or
everybody's sharing what they've got. I think, use this free time as an opportunity to watch more lacrosse. Whether it's games or instructional bits or, whatever it may be, just you have to use it as a positive. You can't just be stressed out and cooped up, and, get out and practice, watch film, ask questions. That's probably the biggest piece of advice that I give our guys is, learn how to ask for help.
I would say the best piece of advice I could give those guys is that you personally are not unique. There are every kid in the 21 class, the 22 class is going through the same thing as you are, so I would say, I think that's probably half of Division I schools, if not more, 2/3, Division I, Division II, Division III schools are still looking for 21 recruits, so they're still going to fill those classes. You're not going to get forgotten about.
So yeah, it sucks, let's get down to it. It does. It stinks. There's nothing you can do about it, but, just take the perspective and that you love this game, and maybe reevaluate whether or not you do love this game. If you're enjoying the time playing Call of Duty and Fortnite and whatever, and you don't want to do those reps in your basement like you do, doing those bounce shots, then you're not going to make it at Boston University, let alone Ithaca or Union or a lot of the great Division III schools or Division II schools. You're not going to make it because, I might seem like a fun guy. I like to think I'm a fun guy, but I can make lacrosse pretty hard at times, and I can make film sessions hard, and to where borderline it might be a drag to come see me. But what's important is that you love it. And if you have a baseline love for this game, you can get through any opportunity or any type of adversity that hits you within this game. And then you'll attribute your successes in life due to what you learned through the game and with your coaching staff and your teammates.
So is recruiting is not an exact science, right? So I think, we're not looking at who's ranked this number in recruiting rankings or where they're from or, how successful their high school coach is. There's some coaches that use all these different metrics they're looking for. We're looking for kids, it's pretty simple. Kids that are tough, mentally and physically tough, kids that work hard, and kids that love to play lacrosse. And if you do all those things and you want to come get a world-class education at Stony Brook, you're our kind of guy. And I think we're trying to identify that in the recruiting process. From the first time we see them play to if they come to a prospect day and we can coach them, to talking to their high school coach, talking to their club coach, really selling who we are.
I kind of look at recruiting as like a working job interview. I think that's the best way to see it. It's not what you do, in one game on July 6th. It's what you do your entire high school career. And obviously when you're on campus meeting with coaches and, the time that you invest in learning about the school and the team, and even the way you send emails, taking time to personalize emails and things like that. Those are all really important and mean a lot to us because it means you care and you're invested.
I think the biggest thing is you got to have a vision and a purpose, right? And alongside that, I think that goes hand to hand is you got to accept that there's adversity in your life. And I think that's a skill set and a value that you can have that a lot of people don't. And when you're able to accept that adversity and say, okay, this is a challenge, this is an obstacle, then now your next step is to reflect and put together an action plan. And now that action plan that you have, you can measure your success off that now.
So some of the things I sometimes look forward to just on the field, it's, how a player reacts to what's happening around them. And the big thing for me is, like, if something bad happens on the field, if they make a mistake or, turn the ball over, whatever might happen, let up a goal. If the goalie lets up a goal, and then we talk about this with our guys, it's the response that's really important. So what happens after one of those things? Hey, is a player hanging their head, or they're feeling sorry for themselves, or if they're going after it, trying to make up for that play, and they just keep grinding away. I think that's something that we try to look for sometimes. Maybe not every player we see. We certainly want some guys who maybe don't make a lot of mistakes too. Like if you're making a ton of mistakes, that's not great either. But I think even the best players, especially in college, like you got to have a short memory and kind of turn around quickly.
I think the advice I would give now is the same as we give kind of guys going through the process at all points, whether you're senior, junior year, September when you're just getting started, or even right now with just kind of holding recruiting. It's patience and diligence. Patience because it'll play out for you in your timeline. You can't rush the process. You can't get concerned with what your peers are doing. The reality is, especially for Division I, with just how competitive recruiting is, if you're not one of those, top 50 guys on those lists, or play for the best club team and are the best guys on those club teams, those guys will obviously get gobbled up very early in the process because they're the knowns. But there's a lot of other really good players out there that develop at different times or are under-recruited because they play other sports and just don't have the exposure. They might be from a non-traditional area from across the country, and our roster is filled with guys like that. So, you have to be patient in the process.
I would just say, this is one of my mantras, control controllables, right? Obviously, everybody's got access to different stuff right now, with having to stay inside or stay home or, whatever it is. I would say, don't come out of the quarantine a worse lacrosse player. Find a way to improve at something.
Tough kids that want to work hard, and you talk about core values. I mean, really, it's simple, but what we tell our guys is we want you to do two things. We want you to always do the right thing, and no matter what the situation is, in the classroom, community, on the field, and always work hard. You do those two things, and that's in the front of your mind, you'll be successful. So that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think from a recruit standpoint and I feel like this phrase is getting used a lot right now, but being able to control what you can control. All right, so as a player, you can't control when we're going to be able to get back on the field. You can't control what team you make. You can't control, what event you're going to as a team. You can't control what coach is on the sideline watching you, and you can't control what coach is reaching out to you directly right off the bat. What you can control is yourself personally, and understanding that, hey, this is a great time for you to kind of commit to yourself and buy in and really focus on what you can be really good at. So, from an offensive player, it's a great time to, have the stick in your hand, or going out and shooting, or a defensive, personnel working on approaches and working on your footwork. Face-off guys working on technique. There's so many little aspects of the game that you can be working on individually right now, but if you can focus and work on your craft and your game right now, then when we are out of this quarantine and we are in a position where we can, be back on the field, it's going to shine, and it's going to show that you were committed to yourself at that point, that, hey, that player A did what he needed to do during this time. And I think that's a big part of just kind of the evaluation itself moving forward.
unfortunately, we had some big plans this spring, with the coverage, but we're doing our part, and having conversations like this are immense. They're so helpful for.
All right, so there you had it. There's a lot of advice in that, right? Because every coach has a different approach. Every coach has a different philosophy. Every coach feels as though certain things might be more important than others. So as a result, those coaches will give you different pieces of advice that, depending on who you are as a player and as a person, can really help you. And I know for me personally, someone who, when I was in your shoes, guys, as a junior or a rising senior, or as a rising junior, or as a rising sophomore, right? I knew that I really wanted to be the best player I could be, starting with, in my grade, right? Best possible guy I could be in my grade. And then, maybe once I made the varsity, best possible guy I could be on my team. And then, maybe the best guy at my position going into college. So if I ever had an opportunity to hear from a bunch of college coaches like that, I would try to take, everything that they said and try to boil it down and see how I can, allow it to impact me in a positive way. So the good thing is, where we are right now, you still have time, right? You still have time before we get out there and really get after it, both, with our FLG team, and get after it in terms of, showing what you guys can do as individuals and as a group. So hopefully, for some of you, that's, you've been doing a lot of those things. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Maybe I heard something that might have helped me. I'm going to apply that. And then for some of you, maybe it's just motivation, because maybe you were sitting back a little bit, maybe you were focused a little bit more on school, and you kind of had lacrosse and your athletics take a back seat. But that's okay too, because you still have time. It's just, the fact that you guys are on this call right now shows me that, you guys have a willingness to want to get to that next level, and you want this. So, we're trying to give you guys some resources, some tools, and some advice to then, go take that information, go do something with it, make it, create action from it. Don't just take it in, internalize it, and think about it. It's something that you want to think about and then go do something with. Okay. Coach Wink, anything you want to add to that as we relate to some of the stuff the college coaches said?
Well, I think one of the things that gets lost in translation when kids go through recruiting processes is people aren't looking at the college. And we got to stop looking at the lacrosse program and who's on ESPN, and we have to evaluate yourself. So you have to look at your academics. You got to speak to your parents about what do you want to spend, because obviously cost is important. What most families don't understand is the best value isn't always necessarily the best lacrosse program. So you have to evaluate all of these things as a family and talk about them, okay? And also you want to talk about what type of school you're looking for. Is it a big school, a small school? Is it 4 hours or less from home? You don't care, you'll get on an airplane. All of these things have to come into the equation, and then you can start shrinking your own list, okay? But at the end of the day, I'll give you a little advice. Answer every text, every email, every DM from every college coach. One, it's the right thing to do. That's the number one most important thing. It's the right thing to do. A coach does it for a living. He saw you play. He likes how you play. I don't care if you never heard of the school. Thank the coach, look up the school, do some due diligence on the school, okay? I was just talking to Vinny Giordano about Arcadia, who a lot of you guys are going to know about that school because they're recruiting, and this coach is coming after Long Island guys. He just got one of the best goalies in the 21 class from the FLG program. So you're going to learn about a lot of these schools that you might have never heard of, and be respectful. The other thing is that coach who recruited you might be at a school that doesn't fit you. Build a relationship with them. You never know if that coach is at the school that you want to go to. Okay? You just saw all these men talk about advice. Every one of those men, including Lars Tiffany, okay, who's now the Virginia head coach, had to start somewhere. Okay? They didn't start as the Virginia head coach. Okay? And I know Lars Tiffany for a long, long time. And I remember all the different jobs he had, okay? When you build relationships and they fall in love with you as a human being, okay, they want to take you wherever they go. Okay, there was a young man named Chandler Kirby who played on our 2013 team. And he went down to Duke in North Carolina on a vacation. So he wanted to visit the schools. So Ronnie Caputo, who was the assistant down there, took him around. And he had already finished his class, but he was nice enough to take Chandler around. Chandler impressed Ronnie so much that he said to Ronnie said to Chandler, I don't have any more room in my class, but if you get into Duke on your own, I want you on the team. Chandler ended up getting recruited to a lot of schools. He went to Cornell and had a great career at Cornell. But the bottom line there was Duke wanted the kid. He wanted the human being. So relationships are really important in this process, okay? You'll always hear us talking about that, and we try to teach our young men and our young ladies to be respectful. Build relationships. We always tell our 22s and we'll tell our 23s, talk to everybody. You're going to get good at it. It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of you guys have never had a conversation with an adult besides your parents or your teachers, okay? Talk to people, build relationships. You're going to get really good at it, and then people are going to fall in love with you, all these amazing young men that are on this call.
Coach Wink and I were talking to the old Cornell coach, Coach Pete Milliman. He just got hired at Hopkins. We were talking to him about 3 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more, right before he got the job. And he said something very interesting. He had one thing that these college programs are doing, and as you guys can see, we've been talking to a lot of these colleges during this quarantine, and that's a way that we've kind of occupied some of our time to build relationships and talk to schools. But one other question I was asking these coaches, and Coach Wink asked these coaches, is not just, hey, give us a piece of advice. They asked, what are you doing with your college teams right now that the season's canceled? And a lot of these college programs, what they do is they go on Zoom calls just like this, and they just build relationships with their own players. They have their players interact, the coaches interact with the players, they might watch them film, a lot of the stuff that we've been doing. But one thing that this Cornell coach did, which was interesting, is he brought on a Navy SEAL to talk to his players. And the primary message that this Navy SEAL was trying to get across was being a good teammate. And the reason that he brought up the importance of being a good teammate is because he said that when he's out there and he's serving our country and he's working alongside his team of SEALs, if you're not a good teammate and you don't work together, people can lose their lives. So he's like, I don't care if you're out there and you're protecting the country or if you're playing a team sport. He could not wrap his head around recruiting someone who's not a good teammate, because he knows in his line of work, if you're with someone who's not a good teammate, people lose their lives. And the best and most successful lacrosse programs, Division I, II, or III, these coaches understand the importance of the impact of a good teammate. So for you guys, as you approach this thing and as we go out there and play some tournaments, don't think it's just about you, right? Don't think you have to take the world and put it on your shoulders and run through a million guys and do everything yourself. College coaches, especially the most successful ones, which you just heard from a lot of them, those are some of the most respected guys that we have good relationships with. They understand the importance of good teammates, good not just good players, and that's who they recruit. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind as we kind of move through this. If you guys have questions too, throw them in the chat here, right? So we got some time left. Throw them in the chat. We'll try to get to them. And again, if you have more personal questions about yourself, that's when you can email myself or text me right after the meeting, and we'll set something up, okay? So I have a little PowerPoint. I'm not going to get through every slide, but there's about 5 slides I want to share with you guys that I think will help the people on this call. So let's dive into that real quick. Just make sure you guys can all see my screen, which should pop up in a second. Coach Wink, if you see any questions come in, just give me a holler because I can't really see the chat box right now.
All right, cool.
All right, so one theme of tonight, guys, if you really get anything out of this, the importance of what's called winning the day. What we mean by that is, take advantage of what you have right now, right? In your backyard, right? Down the street, get better, win the day, get healthier, get stronger, get faster, get sharper mentally. Hopefully you guys crushed it in school over the last couple months, even though you're at home, right? Just get better. So that way, when you guys get back on the field, you're not, months and months behind where you should be, right? So that's really, really important as we move through the process. All right, now the process for some of our younger recruitable athletes is very new to you, right? Our 23s are pretty much going to enter it starting in the fall. Our 22s are in the thick of it. Our 21, some of them have committed. I think we're up to 6 or 7 guys committed. Other guys are making their visits and they're on the tail end of it. And then some other guys, this could be a really big summer/fall for them, which we're excited about. So it's not even close to being over if you so choose to kind of hang tight and be patient here. So everyone's in a different spot, which is cool. But our process is pretty simple. Filling out your sports recruits profile, which is included for everyone in our program, starting your sophomore year. Talking with myself and Coach Wink once that profile is complete. So if you haven't had that conversation at least once with myself and Coach Wink, now's the time to do that. Then we're going to have you kind of follow our calendar. And then, the calendar it has changed, which we're going to talk about in a second. But typically what you're doing right around this time of the year is getting together video from your high school season, which, as we know, has been canceled. That being said, things have changed because of this virus, and the way college coaches have recruited has changed. It's gone from more of a physical in-person experience to mostly digital. And I'm going to share a story with you about an athlete who's currently getting recruited in the 22 class that did something that I really, really like. This athlete understood that their high school season got canceled. He decided that he was going to start videoing his workouts and very simply dodging, shooting, footwork, sending them to college coaches. So I happen to know who this athlete was, and I happen to know one of the college coaches that this athlete sent an email to. The college coach said, I watched that particular player's at-home workout videos more than any other in-game highlight video that I saw over the last 2 years. That college coach was so impressed by the initiative that athlete took. Not only did they show initiative, they showed that they're persevering through this situation, showed that they really want this, right? It showed that they're not taking a step backwards during this time. And it also showed that, hey, I want to get recruited, whether I'm out on the field playing or not. I'm not going to let that stop me from showing these coaches that I want to play at the next level. That's a great example of winning the day, as we talked about. Now, I know that's maybe not in some of your guys' personality, and maybe that's not something you would do, but it works. And it's something that, very few athletes that I know of, but some athletes are starting to do. And it's a great example of making the most of the situation. And it's also a great example of how college coaches are starting to recruit during this time, when 3 years ago, a college coach probably never would have opened up a video of some kid getting better in his backyard. They probably would have thought it was kind of weird and, never would think to watch that. Completely different in today's day and age. Things are 100% changing as it relates to that. Okay. So Coach Wink, anything you want to add to that there?
No. When I see a question on group chat, I'll just shoot back the answer so that Corey can keep talking. Is that cool?
Yep. No problem at all. That's perfectly fine. Okay. All right. And listen, another thing that's changed, right? A big difference is making your visits, right? Not every college campus is open right now, right? We've had athletes do virtual tours, right? We've had athletes maybe talk on the phone, a little bit more than they would have with these college coaches, right? Maybe athletes are sending emails and college coaches are answering and looking at emails more than they would have. And it's also, it's changing the timeline a little bit, right? Our 21s who are still getting recruited, that are in the thick of it or kind of wide open in their process, you're probably going to be playing in an FLG uniform, I would think, in the fall at some point, if you're still looking for it, right? So don't think that at the end of this summer, right, if we play 3 or 4 tournaments like we plan on doing, if you still need to get some looks in the fall, that's okay. Your process is not over at the end of this summer, right? A lot of athletes think at the end of the summer going into their senior year, their timeline has completely expired and there's no other chance of getting exposure or talking to coaches. That's 100% not true. We've had athletes in our program go to some of the best schools in the country and commit in April and May of their senior year. And that's happened literally, it happened last year. It has happened, 5 years ago. So that's something that will happen as well. So the timeline has changed. How college coaches are recruiting athletes has changed. Okay. And how athletes are trying to get exposure themselves has changed too. So, hear these success stories and run with them. Right. And I hope more and more guys start to do some of these things because it's going to help you as you get into it. All right. So let's talk a little bit about what college coaches are up to this summer. All right. I heard some misinformation from, some parents out there on the internet. So I like to clear it up with our FLG family so people understand that Division I and II coaches are not allowed to go to events. They cannot go to events in June. They cannot go to events in July. All right. So that is a fact, and they're restricted from doing that. Division III, that's not the case. Right. So right now, Division III, which is where there are the most college programs out there in the country at the NCAA level, they can go out there and they can recruit. August is still a question mark. There's probably going to be a chance that Division I and II coaches recruit in August. That just has not been finalized. So don't be surprised if August, if that early part of the month becomes a really big recruiting window for our athletes. Now, even though Division I and II schools are not out there on the fields, they're watching video. So any event that we go to, if the video is not included already, which it will be with some of the events, it's a really good and smart idea to buy the video and send it to the schools that are of interest to you, whether, if they're a Division I or a Division II school. All right. So video is going to be a big driver in kind of getting you out there and building some relationships with these schools over the next few months. All right. So that's if you're a 22, a 23, or even a 21. Doesn't matter what age there. All right. So remember, be a good teammate. Play for each other this summer. Play for your team. Play to improve. All right. Play because you love it. Don't play because you have in your mind that you need 5 goals on your highlight video, right? You're playing for the wrong reasons. If you do that, coaches are going to see that. The FLG coaches are going to see that, and we're going to correct it very soon. And it's not going to work out for anyone. It's not going to work out for your team or yourself. So play the game the right way. All right. Handle your process with patience, especially our 21s. All right. Stick with us. Stay present. We're here to help you. It's going to work out. Your timeline is just going to be a little bit different, right? It's definitely a unique, situation. But if you really want this, we're going to help you guys through this, right? And I like to say, don't be a victim, right? Don't think that the world's against you because this is happening. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people in more unfortunate situations, and it's really your attitude that's going to get you through this, right? So your attitude, in my opinion, should be all about solutions, right? So you walk outside and you have, a 15-yard by 15-yard space. You don't have a lacrosse goal. You don't have a rebounder, but you have a stick and a ball. All right, well, what can you do in that space to get better, right? How can you get quicker? How can you condition yourself? How can you work on your footwork? How can you work on your skills, right? Those are things you got to think about. All right, I don't have a car, right? My parents, didn't tell me to save up and buy a car. They didn't give me a car. And, I'm going into my senior year. I have a license. I can't get to a field to go get better. All right, well, if you condition yourself and can get to somewhere within a 3 to 4 mile or 5 mile radius, all right, and then you can bring your stick with you, you can do anything you need to do up at a school if you can condition yourself to get there. So think about your situation, find a solution, work through it, and make sure you come out the other side more positive and in a better spot, right? That's how you guys are going to be okay as we move through this thing here. All right, so let's keep rolling here. Coach Wink again. We have about 7 minutes on the call. I just want to scoot through a couple more things unless we have any other questions. I'm not going to dive into the specifics just yet of each team. I'm going to reiterate highlight videos here, guys. So some of you, I've been bugging to complete your video. Some of you have been doing a great job putting it up there. Here's a couple things that, in my opinion, can help you as it relates to highlight videos for all of our high school boys. One play video versus a couple plays. Honestly, one play is better than nothing. A few plays are better than one play. So don't think just because you only have a couple plays or just because you got one play, you can't put anything on your sports recruits video. Not profile. It's not true. Put something up there, right? Something is greater than nothing as it relates to highlight videos, right? Just make sure that one play or those couple plays are good ones, right? That's something you can lean on me on. You can talk to your FLG coaches about, Coach Wink. We have a bunch of people that can watch your video and tell you if it's going to help you get recruited, right? Homemade videos versus professional. We have guys that use AMP highlights who do a great job. We have other guys. I was working with one of our 21s who's a really good defenseman, and he made his whole video by himself. I literally sat on a Zoom call with him for about a half hour, and he literally was on iMovie, shuffling things around, moving clips here, there. He was actually taking things from old highlight videos, adding them to his new video, and it came out amazing. So it does not have to be this like cinematic adventure or done by a whole production studio. You can do it yourself, and it could still be great. Okay. Also, the footage could come from your parents filming on the sideline. It doesn't have to be the people that, film these tournaments. Like we've had, I think last year on our 2020 boys team, which pretty much every kid's going off to play college lacrosse. I think we had about 5 or 6 kids on that team build their highlight videos from their parents just sitting on the sideline with a tripod. So, anyone can catch video. It doesn't have to be, the whole real deal thing at these tournaments. Freshmen, you should be getting your first highlight video up there. That's your goal, right? Juniors, you guys should be adding to your arsenal, and you should be adding to the library of videos that you have on your profile. Coaches want to see you go from what you looked like as a freshman to what you look like today. So your goal should be get some more video up there after this summer. And in the meantime, I suggest videoing your workouts and throwing them up there. It's only going to help you. One other thing, guys, as it relates to videos, more self-made videos. I heard of an athlete actually video themselves, kind of get interviewed by their mom or dad, talking about why they want to play at the next level, talking about their grades, talking about what they're doing to get better. So it wasn't necessarily them playing out on a field. It was more of an interview, which I actually think is a really good idea for some of, for some of the coaches out there. They want to know which guys kind of have the personality to fit their program and their culture. So if that fits your personality and that's something you might want to do, that's something that can't hurt you as well. Okay. So we talked about it. 1 video, 5 videos. Well, depends where you are in the process, right? Some of you guys, we've had athletes that are currently playing in college. By their senior year, they had about 7 or 8 videos on their profile. And those kids naturally got more offers and more opportunities. So it really is correlated, right? The more you are giving coaches to recruit you and analyze you and watch you, more likely you're going to get opportunities as you move through the process, okay? Remember, Coach Turry, the Hobart coach, said it. You're not special. There's a lot of kids out there like you that want to play at the next level, that have the ability to play at the next level. So you go the extra mile to have a full profile with more video and more just passion as to why you want to play at the next level. I guarantee you a college coach is going to pick you over the kid right next to you. All right. It's only going to help you. All right. So it all comes back to this, guys. What are we doing to get better? If you look in the mirror tonight and you say nothing, then you better get outside tomorrow and start doing something. If you can look in the mirror and feel pretty good about what you've been doing, for example, if you've been getting tugged along by your older brother and been working out with him pretty much every day, then you should keep doing that and feel pretty good about it, because that's the best thing you could do right now, okay? If you've been in the backyard with a younger sibling, training them, working with them, watching videos on YouTube, right, taking things, applying it to your game, you should feel pretty good about that. And I think everyone right now in our program needs to be at a point where they're at least starting or keeping things moving, because I want to have a really successful summer together, guys. And I'm really excited. I have not coached in a really long time. I'm sure you guys have not played organized lacrosse in a really long time. So these college coaches are going to be really anxious to watch you. I know you guys are anxious to play. Your FLG coaches are really excited to coach you. So let's make the most of this situation and win the day, and let's win the summer, and let's kill it, right? So we're going to wrap it up by if we don't have questions, that's cool. I want you to reach out to me and Coach Wink, though, if you have questions about you personally, because that's what we're here for. Don't ever think you can't talk to us about your personal process. And I don't want you guys to ever think you can't reach out to us. That's what we're here for, okay? So, make sure to reach out, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Stay in touch. We're going to be doing our film sessions with Coach Dunn, right? I highly recommend you go to those. We're going to be breaking down games that are going to help us be successful on the field and help us be more organized as a team, okay?
Don't miss practice this summer, boys. Cool. Oh, I got a chat. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Coach. Have a nice night.
Have a good night, boys.
You're welcome. Be good, Vin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will. Later, Pat.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it. Yeah.
You got 30 seconds. Hopefully we don't lose.
I like Matt Miranda's family picture. That's really nice.
Dad's got
Good looking.
a good mustache.